Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining Chad and myself this afternoon to learn a little bit about Microsoft Teams. Hopefully this will be a informational half hour or so. Chad, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing? I know you can't speak back, but I hope everybody's doing good this afternoon.
We'll go over some of those details here. Chad, if you would.
Yeah, so we are going to keep this one a little bit shorter. It's going to be overall about an hour, but at the 30-minute mark, we're going to announce the winner for the Amazon gift card, and that's when we're going to start the Q&A. If anybody has to get out at that time, by all means, go ahead. Afterwards, if anybody wants to stay, we're going to continue to do demonstrations as well as questions and answers, and we can do specific demonstrations of anybody that is wanting to see something specific that we go over.
Yeah, at any point during our presentation here, over on the right-hand side, you have there's a little Q&A column or window that you can go ahead and type your questions in. We will be addressing those if we can during the first 30 minutes, but for the most part, we'll probably hang on to after the drawing and then start answering some of those questions. So what is Teams and why is it so important? And I'm sure a lot of you have heard about Microsoft Teams. It is Microsoft's collaboration hub. They launched it about 18 months ago, I guess, and it's one of their fastest growing pieces of software or adopted pieces of software ever. And now during the new world that we're in, with a lot of people working from home and the social distancing, it's becoming even more important to have a tool to keep your company connected. Whether you're working remotely, having somebody's not even ready to talk this morning or this afternoon. Anyway, we'll move on to the next slide, and I'll start talking here again. So Microsoft Teams, again, is a hub, and it's a communication hub. It takes all of Microsoft's products and kind of puts them in one location, allowing you to use Word, Excel, communicate with the rest of your coworkers, communicate on the projects and the things that you're working on all in one place. You can use files inside there and communicate on the files. It includes chat, it includes voice, it includes video. You have one-on-one or group chats directly on your phone, even if you're on the go. Or you can have an open conversation in a channel. We'll describe what a channel is and what a team is and what a tab is as we move on. But this enables people to share information in a transparent way to help them accelerate the decision-making process. And it's super easy to move around from a chat into a one-on-one video face meeting, and it kind of gives you a little bit more of the interconnected office while we're still almost remote and working from home. Let's see here, a bunch of different things. You can communicate through chat we talked about. We're honestly going to cruise through a lot of these slides pretty quick and just get to the meat and bones, which I think everybody really wants to see is, how it can be used, and we'll demonstrate that a little bit here. But it does have the ability to bring in third-party services as well. We'll go over that. There's a lot of security and stuff built into that. It is HIPAA compliant. There's a lot of e-discovery that you can do. It integrates with you can have multi-factor authentication. You can invite guests to it, so you can have people connect to your teams and your channels and communicate with your clients. They don't have to actually necessarily be somebody inside your business. again, meetings, the Miller Group, we meet every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we have everybody join a Teams meeting where we discuss what happened the day before and what we're doing the next day. And then just like, if you see a Zoom meeting and it got everybody's faces up on the screen, it does the same thing there, giving us a little bit more accountability to make sure that everybody is out of bed and actually working. Right now, Teams allows for 4 different people to be shown on the screen, but that's something that they're supposed to be upgrading to 9, like a 3x3 grid, at the end of April, which, if I'm not mistaken, April's over. So the last I read that they were rolling that out in stages, so that should be coming here really soon. The video is a big deal. The great thing about it is, though, it works on your computer, it works on your laptop, it works the exact same way on your phone as well. So no matter where you're at, you're able to stay engaged. Like I said, we're cruising through all these. Teams has definitely jumped over the last month or so, for sure. Some stats they have there from that. But the big thing here we want to get into is the demo. And I don't know why I have the question and answers up there on the screen, but let's go ahead and get straight in. There's Chad. And then we have Alex in the background. She's producing this for us. She'll be showing us some questions and answers as they come in. But here's the main Teams interface. And over on the left-hand side, you have an activity icon that will show you the latest things that where people have been mentioning you, or chat messages that you've been, or if you're following a channel, any activity that's been happening in that channel, the activity will light up over here on the left. The chats are one-to-one or one-to-many type chats. You can see I have a lot of different people here in the company. This one's 3 or 4 different people on this chat. You can have one-to-one chats, or you can, again, have multiple people, and then you can name the chats whatever you would like. So, for instance, Chad, myself, and Alex are in this one. Instead of just seeing Chad and Alex up here, I called it the webinar, kind of talking about it now. You can see Alex kind of bosses us around because we don't always know what we're doing, believe it or not. Over here on the left again is your teams. I've created it's really easy to create a team. We'll walk through that. But for instance, we have a team here called the Microsoft Teams webinar. And this is the team. Think of it as a specific group related to a project or a topic. So in this case, anything related to the webinar is underneath this Microsoft Teams webinar group. And the only people that I invite to this would be able to see this. So for, in this case, this example, myself, Alex, and Chad are part of this webinar, where the rest are part of this Microsoft team, where the rest of the company wouldn't be able to even see this in their list. The other teams, this is kind of an example of how we do things or how we use Teams. I have teams, we have one broken down into accounts receivable, accounts payable. So that's like the C-level group here, and then the accounts receivable person. Our account managers have their own team, so all conversations and all things related to the account managers are there. We have one for our centralized services. Here's a list of, we have a team and a channel for all our clients. A development department one. You can see there's just a whole bunch of different marketing, a whole bunch of different ones split up. And these are all the teams that I'm members of, but there are other teams here internally at the Miller Group that I'm not a member of, like the ones where they talk behind my back. Though I don't see that where other people do. Creating a new team is really easy. Down here at the bottom, you can go and click on that, and it says create a new team. You create a team here. If you can build one from scratch, or you can choose from an existing Office 365 group, but just creating one from scratch, you can make it private or you can make it public. So if you make it private, only the people that you invite can join that team. If you make it public, anyone can join it, but by default, only the people that you invite will be part of that team. But if somebody goes up there and searches for a new team or for a certain team, they can find it and add themselves to that team. Or you can make an organization-wide one where everybody is automatically a part of that team. So when you do go through that process, it asks you to give a name of the team, and the next step would be inviting people to the team. Once I get there, so for instance right here, you just start typing, and there you go. You can, like I mentioned before, you can invite outside people not part of your company to your team. So if I was to invite, for instance, I have a Gmail account that is not part of my Microsoft Office tenant, I could invite that myself there, or my Hotmail account, I could invite myself as a guest, and then that email address would then get a link then. They do not have to have Microsoft Office. They will be asked to create an Office 365 login. They don't have to have a license for that. It's free, and then they will have access to that team. Anything in a team, these are called teams, anything in that team, whoever's a part of that team that you invited to it will be able to see anything inside there. So that's part of kind of like the little security and how they divvy it up. Underneath the teams are channels. Every team has a default general channel, and then you can add new channels below, and adding a channel is really easy. And that's just a way of creating like sub-topics underneath your main topic. So for instance, for our Microsoft Teams webinar, we'll be doing a drawing later. There's that. We're going to show you how you can integrate email inside here, show you some other integrations. So those are subtopics underneath our main topic. Creating a new channel, you just click on the three little dots over here, and then you can add a channel just by typing it in, sample channel. You got the option here to show that channel for everybody, or it would kind of be hidden. You just select that, and then the channel will pop up over here. Underneath each one of the channels, then you have tabs going across the top. And by default, you have the three that come with it, the post, files, and then wiki. The post will show all the activity that's kind of happened on that team since the beginning. So you can see here starting at the top, I created the channel, and then I added Alex and Chad, and then you can see I created a new channel called Office 365 Integrations, and then so on. Any conversations will be shown in here as well. You can see you can add emojis and GIFs and all that wonderful stuff. They're all threaded by the conversation itself, kind of like a chat message. You can give it a like or a, oh, there's Chad typing right there. He's saying hi. Replying back to Chad. Throwing me off my game, Chad. And then one of the big things that we do for clients or moving to the cloud, companies have file shares on their internal servers, and they want to get those file shares to the cloud and to not have to depend on a server anymore at the office. And Teams is great for that. It integrates with SharePoint, and SharePoint is a file storage, sharing, collaboration tool in its own. So inside a team, you can go to the Files tab, and you can store files there. You can create new folders. And then inside those folders, you can have files. You can see, for example, here we have a Excel spreadsheet. And you can see by clicking on that, it opened up Excel inside Teams, allowing you to kind of stay inside that same environment that you're in. However, if you wanted a little bit more control, you still have all the, the file, save as, you can print from there, you can do all your different Excel features. You can start editing the file as well. You can see what another great thing about it, since Chad's a member of his team, Chad and I can both work on this Excel document at the same time. You can see right here, Chad is on this cell right here, and if he was to go ahead and change some data, you can see he was typing and he changed that data right there. If you wanted to go ahead and open this up and get a little bit more of the features of Excel, you can open up Excel right from there. And again, I'm in this, editing this, and if Chad's bouncing around on his own, he could still make changes while I'm inside here, and I can still see what he's doing as well. Any changes I make once I open Excel in the desktop app, they're automatically saved. You can see up here in the top left, the auto save. It'll automatically save as you go about. And then as you close that document, any of those changes that you did make will still show up inside the document right there. One of the great features and the big power behind Teams is the ability to go ahead and just to have conversations. So if you think in the old world, what we would do if we had this spreadsheet here and we had 5 or 6 people that we wanted to show this information to and discuss it with and have them make changes and updates to it, you would create an email, you'd send it to the 5 people, you would attach the spreadsheet. So the 5 people would get it. Some people would open it up on their computers, save it on their computers, maybe make some changes, do a reply all, attach the file, it come back, and you just have this huge email string going on. You're not really sure which version of the file is live. What you can do here inside Teams is the file lives in Teams. That conversation can be had on the file itself. So for instance, inside Teams, they use something called an @mention. So you just type in the @ sign, start typing in somebody's name, and this is only the people that are part of this team what you see in this list here that you can select. I'm going to select Chad and say, please take a look at this file. Chad will then receive an activity up in his window with a link right to that file. When he clicks on that, he'll be taken straight to the file where this conversation's at. So then at any point in time, we come back to this file later on, we will see the whole history of the conversation that was being had over here on the right-hand side. So it's great to be able to follow up with who's made changes or what kind of conversations have been had with anything. So that's Excel. A greater explanation or demonstration, I guess, of files inside Teams is you can actually link inside a tab a SharePoint document folder or site. So in this case, this at one point in time was, I believe, our M drive on our server. So on our computers, we'd go to File Explorer, we'd have our drives, our shared drives that were on the server. This was our M drive. We moved that to Teams, and all these files are here. So you see there's quite a few. We can jump into any of them. There's nothing in there. Great example, Joe. There's some icons inside here. You can, with any of these files, you can open them straight up with inside Teams. This is just going to be a picture of an icon. You can click on the little back arrow to go back where you were. But if you wanted to download and use that file, again, you can use these buttons here. You can download it. It would download straight to your computer. You could get a link where you could forward that link onto somebody to link straight to it. Or again, you could open the conversation pane and have a conversation around this file. For instance, Alex, do you like this? Or if I wanted to do multiple people, though, I could actually @mention the team itself, which I believe in this case is the Microsoft Teams webinar. And And when I do that, everybody that's a part of that team would get that notification. So in this case, Alex and Chad would both be notified that something happened here. I have a new activity up here, and you can see Chad replied, okay, thank you, to something, to the financial sample thing here. So we showed the Excel, we showed the SharePoint stuff. You can, another thing that you can do inside tabs is you can integrate websites straight there. So if you have a website that your department works on a lot, you can just integrate that right into a tab, which the website works just like it would in a regular browser. You can click through there. So again, keeping everybody in one spot, not having to go back and forth between a lot of different things. You can integrate Power BI reports, so you can have live reports right in a tab, which is really handy. Microsoft Forms, again, this is a lot of Microsoft's products. You can integrate a form right in there where people can answer stuff. Wonderful. Another cool feature is another Microsoft product is Planner, and I'll actually let Chad talk a little bit about Planner and how that works inside Teams. Which, Chad, share your screen.
So the nice thing about Planner is that obviously you can use it as a to-do, but the best thing that we notice that we like it the most for is that you can assign a person, you can assign anybody that's within that team, you can do a priority, you can do urgent, important, low, you can keep track if you're in progress, if you're complete of whatever the task is, a start date, due date, just kind of like any other to-do. You can put your notes here. Something that we use a lot for the marketing department is that if Alex is working on something, some sort of leave behind or some sort of marketing material, she'll attach it here, and then you can collaborate right here about that particular product, whatever she's working on for the marketing material. And you can also categorize it with different colors if you want to go that far. There's a lot that you can do with it. And then, for example, if you want to just move it over, if you have started, completed tasks, you can just move them around. You can assign multiple people. And you can also set up templates, so that way if you want to bring up this, if you make a template and want to use it again, you can do that. And then with the charts over here, you can kind of get a high level of who has tasks, where they are at, are they late, in progress, or completed, or not started yet. And then you can also see the schedule based upon the start date and due date of each task. You can see what kind of where it all lines up. So this is great for project management. If you're managing a handful of people and you want to have everybody has kind of visibility and where everybody's at to kind of keep everybody accountable. This is a great way to kind of have a very easy way of doing it. And these, if you have something on here like a due date, say the due date was today, it automatically sends you an email reminder the day before and the day of, letting you know you have a task coming up. And if it's overdue, if this was due 2 days ago, then it would constantly be sending me emails saying your task is not completed, you have overdue tasks. And it's very helpful just to stay on top of everything you have going on.
Yeah, we do like the planner. That's great to show there. Can we switch back over to me, Alex, if you would? And okay. So with Microsoft Teams, there is so much to show you, and we're already at 24 minutes. So I'm going to kind of cruise through some things again, or some more things here. Try to cram some things in for the people that need to get out of here in a half hour. So that's quickly just Teams and some channels and the tabs going across the top. To add a tab, you just click on the plus sign, and you can see you have a huge selection of different things that you could add there. We'll get to those in a little bit more detail here in a second. Another great thing that it has here is your calendar. So this is my calendar that it's showing. For instance, this is the live event that we have. We have a sales meeting coming up here at 1 o'clock. I can click on that right there and join right from here or right from here, see the people that are inside that. Teams also integrates with Skype. Actually, Skype's going to be renamed to Microsoft Teams here shortly. But you can, with an added license inside Office 365, you can actually have your phone system integrated inside Teams. So if you do call my direct number, which is listed right here, my office number is 636-552-4000, it will ring my Microsoft Teams, and I will have my conversation just like I'm talking right now through my video camera and my microphone and speakers on my computer. Or if I'm on the go and someone calls me, it will ring my cell phone through Microsoft Teams as well. Inside there, I can place calls inside here, just typing in a phone number and hitting the call button. That's not really anything we need to show. And then there's voicemails are listed inside here as well. It will transcribe the message for you, which is sweet. And you get your history. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of nice things you can do with the calling features, but that is an add-on license. This is a list of all the files that you have, and this utilizes OneDrive. So this is my personal OneDrive. Anytime I send a one-to-one chat and I attach a file, it goes to my OneDrive folder, and all these files are listed here. We don't use this option that much because the files that we're wanting to discuss and talk about are actually inside a chat or inside a team itself. You can also go and add more apps underneath this button here, but just like a cell phone, the Google App Store or the iPhone, the Apple Store, you can add new apps. So down here at the bottom left, you can click on apps and you can browse through all the different apps that are available for you to add on. And there are literally hundreds of them, from SurveyMonkey to Adobe Creative Cloud. Some of these do require Salesforce. Some of these require a license with the product itself that you're trying to integrate, but there are some free ones in there. And it does kind of break them down into different categories for you as well. So you can add an app. And then over on the left-hand side is a wonderful help button that a lot of people really don't take, we've noticed, don't take advantage of. Microsoft has a lot of built-in videos already around, how to chat and share files, how to use the activity field, how to do the search up here at the top. If I wanted to search for anything mentioned lunch, I can see here's my messages where people were talking about lunch. If I had anybody with the name lunch, it would be there. And if there was any files that had anything to do with lunch, they would be listed here. So you can quickly search up at the top here in this bar. And this bar allows you to do a lot of other things as well. You can see someone's activity. You can change your statuses. You can call somebody straight from here. You can chat straight from here. There's a lot of shortcut features that you can do, which is great. But back into our teams and some of the integrations, we have one here from Poly, which is a survey type thing. You can create quick little surveys that show up inside a channel or a post. So for example, I just created a quick one here, and we had some people answer that, and we can see the results, which is great. And you can put those into any channel that you want to. You can embed YouTube videos inside here as well. Our Christmas video from the year before or something is there. But with Office 365, again, Microsoft Teams comes with this. You get a lot of other things from, depending on your license. You can get the Planner, Power Apps, Microsoft Forms. There's a lot of cool things. So this is something that we created with Microsoft Power Apps that utilizes a SharePoint list and some features. But this is basically where our employees are at. Are they at lunch? Are they working? Blah, blah, blah. everybody has the ability to open up their teams, click on their name, change their status, and we know where everybody's kind of at it at one glance. It's really nice for that. Another thing that we did, again, utilizing a company need, we have 4 company cars, and the techs take those out and about, and we're not always sure where those cars at or who has one. The old way of doing it was we would, Callie here at the office would kind of keep a list of who's got what car when they come in to grab the keys, but then everybody needs to get with Callie to find out who's got the car. It's kind of a mess. So we had a business need to figure out who's got these cars and where they're at what times. If a tech needs to haul a bunch of stuff, they need the van or the Chevy Trax. They need to know if that's available. So we created a nice little app where they can check the car out. Again, on anybody's screen that has Teams, they can open this up and see who has what car. They can make a reservation for a car to reserve it for a certain date and time. A lot of cool things that you can do there. Each month we have an Employee of the Month drawing. For whatever reason, I don't have March or April's winner up there, but they can pick which month they're voting for, select who they're voting for, the Employee of the Month, and place that here. We have an office needs. If somebody wants to say we need things around the office, instead of writing that down on the refrigerator or something, we have a list here to put their wants and needs there, and then the office manager gets a notification that something new's been there, and they'll get that ordered. With no one really being at the office nowadays, we don't have a need for too much stuff here, except for somebody who really wants a pinball machine here. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with the Microsoft Office 365 platform that you can then integrate into Teams. We are at the half-hour mark, and it feels like I've just been rambling on, but let's go ahead and get our winner, and then we'll go into some questions and answers after the fact there. So again, I created, when everybody went to sign up for this on our website, there was a form you had to fill out, and that was using Microsoft Forms, again, an Office 365 product that comes with our licensing. That form, when somebody filled that out, went to a SharePoint list that then had something inside Office 365, again, that's included with your licensing called Power Automate. Once somebody signed up for that list, you received an email back with a meeting invitation, and that was all automated. So you get that email automation, and now when we're going to do this drawing, I created a little Power App here that will generate a random number, take that number and go compare it against the list, and then show our winning number. So we will pick the winner right here, and please appreciate the wonderful presentation I have here. You like that? And there's our winner. So we'll be reaching out to you a little bit later, Zena, to get you the information on your gift card. So for the people that need to hop out now at 30 minutes, you can. We'll continue on for a little bit here, but for everybody that may need to leave, we will be, this is being recorded. We will send out an email a little bit later on with a link to the recording, and then it will also be listed on our website, themillergroup.com/live events. We'll have a link to that in the email as well, so it'll live there.
It looks like we have about 9 questions.
Go for it.
All right. I'll go in order that we received them. This one's from Lisa. As a remote worker, I am just now setting up Teams on my computer. Does it use the same password to enter as the remote server, or is there a new password that I need to get?
Yes, Microsoft Teams is linked and tied to your Office 365 account. So if it's the same username and password that you would be using for Outlook, which you might or may not remember, because once you set it up, you don't have to remember it again. But if you go to portal.office.com, it will ask you to log in, and your login name is going, or your login ID, I guess, is going to be your email address, and then whatever your Office 365 password is. And so that's what you need to use to log into Teams. You can, not only is Teams available here on a computer or on your Mac or on your phone, you can, if we're still seeing my screen, Alex, you can go to portal.office.com. I'm already logged in up here at the top. You can see my name, but you can also open up Teams right here and view it via the web as well. And it'll have the same look and feel as my desktop here. So this looks just like my desktop does. Great question. Okay.
All right. Next question from Debbie. How do we add to our Android phone? I'm assuming the Teams app. So on any phone, if that's an Android or iPhone, you can go to where you get your applications and type in Microsoft Teams, and you can download it, and then it'll prompt for your Office 365 email and password, and that's how you would get it on your cell phone. All right, Anthony, how many people can work on a spreadsheet at once, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any limits of the amount of people that can work on that. I'm sure there is a limit somewhere. We can get back to you on that, but that limit's going to be extremely high. I don't believe we have any clients that would be close to that. I'm guessing it's in the hundreds, if not thousands of people. You can't really see too many scenarios where that would actually be an issue.
All right. From Debbie, can the planner keep your boss up to date on which jobs you are working on? Yes. So the way that would work with Planner to kind of keep your boss up to date on it, you would keep everything up to date on your individual planner, or say you have it in a team or in a channel, you would have, say, right here on the left-hand side where it says morning tasks or afternoon tasks, say you put your name across the morning tasks on the left-hand side, and these are all of your tasks, then your boss can look into that and see where you're at with all of the different tasks that you are working on, and then also with the charts and the schedule, you can easily see where your boss can easily see where you're at with those individual ones. Yeah, you can also filter.
Yeah, filter and group them. Yep.
All right, from Anonymous. If we have files on a server, can we move a file to Teams, allow Teams to edit, and then return it to the original file on the server?
You can. I don't know that you would want to, but yes, you can download and upload files back and forth in Teams. But again, that's kind of getting you back to the same scenario that I just described when you're emailing a file as an attachment around to a group. You're not sure which version of the file is live at that point in time, and that's one of the big things that are challenges that Teams tackles, is by having a central location for a file and a one place, a home for it, and all the communication happens right there inside Teams.
Well, next question from Tammy. Does Teams integrate with Advantage?
That's a good question. So yes and no. Some software companies have published team integrations already. Others, for example, we use a documentation system to document stuff for our clients. There is no direct integration or application that they've created for that, but we've created our own using something called APIs. Where do I have that at, since I've hidden all my stuff? So inside here we have something for IT documentation. It will actually grabs from our IT documentation. There's a script that I made in using Power Automate. inside Office 365 that whenever I click on that button or show the screen, it goes out to our documentation system. It queries all our companies that we have, our clients, puts them into a drop-down box here. I then select them, and then I can go and do some more information on that. So the same thing with Advantage. There may not be an integration already created, but most likely one can be manually created for you, or you can develop one where you can go ahead and make that. So for instance, in ours, we're just trying to track all the different services that our clients have that we offer. And then we have a little chart down here at the bottom to say, kind of give them a grade of, okay, they're doing good, or no, they really need some help of where we want them to be. Specific questions and drop downs. And if we update this and say save, the number down there will change from 93 to 95. Different. Again, this is all homegrown, custom made ourselves, but it is tying into a third-party system similar to what would Advantage would be.
Cool. Next question from Tammy. Can I link to my iCloud account?
I'm assuming that's to show maybe files. We don't have a back and forth, so as I'm asking questions. We have not come across somebody wanting to integrate, I guess, to their iCloud account, so I don't know the answer to that, but you can definitely put, you can go to, you can put iCloud as a website here, or a link to the Apple login screen, and then you can get to it right there and see your files within a tab. If I can spell. I don't have an iCloud account, so I'm not going to log into it. But you could definitely do that.
All right. And then from Amy, is the planner included free with Teams? Yes, it is. With Teams, it comes with it used to be the Essentials and Premium subscriptions. And they just recently changed the name to Basic, and I can't remember. They just changed it last week or the week before. And it does come with Teams, and then Teams does come with Planner inside.
Office 365.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teams is a free program that comes with almost all the Office 365 license variations. There's one or two that it doesn't come with, although Microsoft is giving it away for free for like a 6-month period here during the pandemic. But with the Office 365 license, for instance, a small business license or a premium license, which, like Chad said, they just renamed all the different licenses. You get an online version of, even on the Essentials version of Office 365, you get an online version of Word, Excel, you get Teams. Planner comes with that, so you can do all that within Teams.
Well, next question from Mike. Why Teams versus Zoom or GoToMeeting or Google Meet? We've just trained a lot of people to use Zoom, and this looks like a ton of training, and you only get 4 people in a screen. Yeah,
well, that's a great question. So why this? The quick and easy answer that I would like to give is, with Zoom has one function, and that is meetings. GoToMeeting has one function, which is meetings. Teams has multiple functions. So not only can I have meetings inside Teams, but I can also store my files. We can also have conversations. So for instance, internally, the Miller Group, we do not send emails back to each other anymore. Everything's in a chat inside Teams. It's easy to find. It's all right there. It's threaded. But then if I'm in a chat and I'm talking to Brandon and Steven inside here, and all of a sudden I want to see both of their faces, I just click on the little video call, and I could click on continue if I wasn't in a live event right now, and I would see both their wonderful faces. Have a face-to-face video meeting, and then we could still chat then or send files and work on things while we're doing that as well, without having to go back and forth between different software software applications or even Windows for that matter. Yes, there is quite a bit of training, can be quite a bit of training involved to get up to speed with Teams, but it's more of a long-term solution to handle a bunch of different things. Moving your on-premise file server to the cloud and getting all your files in the cloud, to not have to pay a third party like Zoom for meetings or GoToMeetings. If you're using SurveyMonkey, for example, as a third party thing to do surveys, you don't have to do that anymore. You could use Forms and integrate that inside here as well. Each team does have, for instance, underneath each channel, if you click on that, you can get the channel email address, which is some long email address, but you can send emails to a channel as well. So we have, for instance, if we're going out there to hire a new person and accept applications, we will put the email address of a channel, and all the people signing up for the job opening, all their applications will go to one channel, and depending on who's part of that team, everybody will be able to see those emails right there. And say, for example, this happened to be a application for somebody, we could then have a focused conversation on just this application to the people that are part of the team. Keep it all right there. So that long answer to your question. At Teams right now kind of trails behind a little bit, I guess, in Zoom from the simple aspect of showing all the faces on one screen. That would be a drawback. They are working on that. The 3x3 or the 9 people per page is supposed to be happening any day now, and they said they're going to expand upon that in the future as well. If you want, Alex, can you show Chad's face? You do have the ability to go ahead and blur your background, which would kind of take away from some of the background stuff. Chad, if you'll show some of that.
So you can see, clicked the wrong one. Sorry about that. So if you're here and this is my screen showing, and then you click here, you can blur your background. You can pick really any of these other ones. So if you see down here, you can see that my background is now blurred. If I wanted to do this bridge, you can do that. If you wanted to, I mean, you can upload any of them, and you can customize them. We have like Matthew here at the office. He actually took a picture of his office as if he was sitting at his office, and he put that as his background whenever he's working from home, just to mess around. But there's a lot of things you could do. Like Joe is actually doing the tiger. I forgot who that guy's name is. Joe. Is that guy's name? Like Joe Tiger or something?
I forget too. I watched that whole damn thing and I forgot.
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic. There's Alex. And then people that know me get my Taylor screen in the background there. So anyway, Teams is more than just web meetings, and for instance, this recording that we're doing, this webinar, is a live event, and we're doing that through Teams as well. All right, back to questions.
All right, from Anthony, if you accidentally delete a file in Teams, can you recreate it?
So yes and no. There is the ability inside the Office 365 portal to retrieve files up to 30 days, I believe, if you've deleted things. It's a little bit of a convoluted method to get there, but you can do that. If you do sync your files, for example, are we sharing my screen here, Alex? Let's do that.
You just share your screen with me. There you go.
All right. So inside Teams, if I wanted to go back to my files, and so here's my files here, but if I'm more familiar with working with them inside a Windows Explorer type environment, you can click on this sync option, which will open up OneDrive and sync that folder then as a folder. Let me get it here, File Explorer. So you'll see right here, here's our Microsoft Teams webinar Office 365 integrations. Here's those two folders that you saw, sample and demo data right there. And you can see the little check mark that the demo data is actually synced up to my computer. So these files now live on my computer as well. If I did make a change to one or whatever, it would copy back up to the team as well. So if we were to take a file and dump it in this folder, you can see the sync status here says it's syncing, then it's green. So if I go to the demo data, say that 3 times fast, you will then see the document listed there. So I forget the original question, but you can copy files back and forth. Oh, and then over here in Teams or inside your File Explorer,
it was recovering a file.
Underneath here, there is restore previous version. So if you did have a previous version of this file, now granted, I just created it so it's not there, or on the folder level, if I wanted to see the previous version of this folder, you could do that as well and restore something from there. Again, this one hasn't, I just created this today, so there's no previous versions, but that's a quick, simple way of being able to restore it. Now, Microsoft, though, is not responsible for your backups, and you can only get things up to 30 days. From there, you do need a third-party solution that is backing up your data, your Office 365 data, and that would back up any of your file shares. You could back up your chats, your one-on-one chats, anything that lives inside Teams would be backed up. There are third-party services that do that. It's just as important to back up your Office 365 environment as it is to back up your on-premise server.
All right, next question. How do you know when to use the server versus OneDrive?
So the great thing about Teams as well is the folders that are inside channels and then under tabs are automatically stored inside SharePoint. The files that you share inside chats are automatically stored inside your personal OneDrive. You don't need to know if you're using OneDrive or if you're using SharePoint. It does it all for you. But you can even, so for instance, this is the Office 365 demo data. It is in SharePoint. You can actually see right there, there is an option to open it in SharePoint, which will take you then to that folder structure inside SharePoint. Again, you don't need to know any of that. It does it for you automatically. But you do have the option then for any of the SharePoint files that you can then sync locally to your computer through OneDrive, utilizing OneDrive. So you can see them in that folder structure that you're familiar with inside Windows.
All right. Next question from Cheryl. Does the time in and out come with Teams? Can you show us how you work yours?
Yeah, the time in and out thing, that's something that I created last week, 2 weeks ago. No, it does not come with Teams. There are some third-party apps underneath here that may have things like that. But the great thing about Office 365 and some of the applications that come with that, for instance, Power Apps and Power Automate, it allows you to use your data, your programs, and customize it to your needs. They're sold in a no-code, load-code type environment where supposedly it's easy for everyone to use. There is a bit of a learning curve how to use Power Automate, and then definitely how to use Power Apps, which is what we created our in and out app in. But this is basically just using the employee one here. This is just using a SharePoint list. So we have each person in their in a SharePoint list. When we click on this button here, these different work from home or these different work statuses are a column inside SharePoint with different options that we can choose from. We click on this change status. It goes out there to the SharePoint list itself and updates that. And then this is just a view of the SharePoint list. So it is something customizable. No, it does not come with it, but not too difficult to go ahead and create. And something that definitely, you can use a company like the Miller Group to custom make something to your needs. I'm also utilizing this just as a FYI or something else that we're doing with it. Underneath, we have it automated where we have everybody's birthdays and anniversary dates in there. And so, for instance, on a daily basis, it will go and check that list. And if it's somebody's anniversary, it will post something to the channel in question. For us, it's the Miller Group employees announcements that somebody had an anniversary. And I've been here almost half my adult life, more than my adult life. I'm getting old, Chad. But then also in this as well, we created it where it will actually send a personal email then to the employee as well for birthdays and for anniversaries. Taking this information and figuring out based on their hire date, how many years they've worked here. Basically, I set it up once, and for all our 20-something employees, we no longer have to look at a calendar and have the office manager go and say, hey, congratulate this person on their birthday. I mean, it's all automated now. Saves a lot of time.
That was all the questions. Does anybody have any other questions that they want to type in? I don't know why I seem like I'm waiting for an answer. But so if you want to bring up the PowerPoint.
Yeah, let me find that again here. All right.
So here's Joe and I's email and the office phone number as well as the website. And if you do have any questions or want a little bit more in-depth explanation about Teams, or if you have an idea about something that you would like to use Teams for and you just want to know if it would work before you start putting in more research into seeing if you want to go down the Teams route, by all means let us know, reach out, give us a call, email us, whatever you'd like to do. We'd be more than happy to help.
We will get this wonderful video of Joe stumbling all over himself today up on our website and send a link out to everyone that signed up for this later this afternoon, so you can view it later on. And also, I think Alex will be following up with a survey as well, probably with the question, should Joe do any more webinars or not? Please say yes. And we'll follow that up this afternoon. So again, I would like to thank everybody for their time today. There's a lot to cram in here on Teams. We would love to go ahead and do something again in the future to dive a little bit deeper. But if your company or you wants a little bit more one-on-one training on Teams of what it can and can't do, please do not hesitate to get a hold of Chad or myself, and we will get something set up. Thanks, Chad, for helping me out today. Thanks, Alex, for running this, and we'll talk to everybody later.